Dak Prescott does not seem to be the Dallas Cowboys quarterback of the future, and Dallas has been shopping around for other quarterbacks in the market, whether that be through a trade or through the NFL draft coming up at the end of April. Patience has worn thin for Prescott, who only has 2 playoff wins in 8 years as the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback, and after another big playoff loss this year in the first round of the playoffs to the Green Bay Packers, who came in as a 7th seed, there is a lot of pessimistic Cowboys fans, and especially since being one of the top teams in the NFL year in and year out, record-wise throughout the regular season, Prescott has not lived up to expectations in the playoffs, and neither has the rest of the Cowboys team. So the Cowboys should be looking for a change at the quarterback position going into next year. Since entering the NFL as a 4th-round pick in 2016, Dak has been seen as a top 10 quarterback throughout the entire league for most of his career. In his first season, he took advantage of an injury to former starter Tony Romo and ended up leading the Cowboys to a 13-3 record alongside fellow rookie running back Ezekiel Elliott. However, they were bounced early from the playoffs, losing to Green Bay in the divisional round after getting a first-round bye. But despite the loss early in the playoffs, there was a lot of optimism surrounding the Cowboys going forward because they had a dynamic duo in the backfield in Zeke and Dak, and they were only supposed to get better from there. But the next year, they regressed to 9-7, and ever since then, Ezekiel Elliott has moved on from the franchise, and Dak just has 2 wins, like I said before, in the playoffs in 8 years, and has a combined record of 2-5 in the playoffs. Throughout the years that have come since his rookie season, Dak has put up great regular season stats and records, and has won the NFC East 4 times. He's been in the MVP race multiple times and has been a statistical leader in numerous categories throughout his time in the league. However, all of these stats, accolades, and regular season wins have not led to playoff success. Dak is only 2-5 in the playoffs and has never advanced past the divisional round of the playoffs, despite having loaded rosters almost every single year. Coming into this past season, the Cowboys were considered to be Super Bowl favorites, and Dak was expected to lead them to a deep playoff run after years of trying. Everything looked good throughout the regular season, and Dak was in the MVP race while having his best season in the NFL. The Cowboys ended up 12-5 and won the NFC East while clinching the 2nd seed in the NFC. Going into a wildcard matchup with the Green Bay Packers, who were the 7th seed, the Cowboys were heavy favorites and were looked at as favorites alongside the San Francisco 49ers to win the NFC. Most analysts looked at the 49ers vs. Cowboys NFC Championship game as a lock, and Dak was a quarterback to lead them there. However, it was clear after the first half of wildcard weekend that the Cowboys would not be making a playoff run as was expected, as they went down 27-0 at one point, and at halftime were down 27-7 and ended up losing 48-33 to a Green Bay team that wasn't even projected to make the playoffs, much less win a playoff game. Dak and the Cowboys choked again, and early in that game, Dak had thrown 2 major interceptions, including a pick 6, that allowed Green Bay to take a massive lead on the Cowboys. In this wildcard game, many of the same themes came up that we've seen with Dak and the Cowboys for the past 8 years. Dak threw those 2 interceptions in the first half, including the pick 6, and had 2 other throws that could have easily been intercepted. And even when the Cowboys went down into the red zone early in the game, they turned the ball over and just looked very clunky on offense. And while this isn't 100% Dak's fault, and I think that Mike McCarthy has a lot of blame to share with Dak in this situation, for the last 8 years, there has been a lot of talent on this Dallas Cowboys roster, and Dak Prescott has been the one consistent theme that just hasn't been able to get it done in the playoffs. Time after time, the Cowboys look so good in the regular season, but fall apart in the playoffs, and at the helm of that is Dak Prescott at the quarterback position year in and year out, and his interception problem in the playoffs, or lack of accuracy at the very least, has been very concerning for the Cowboys in the playoffs year after year after year. Throughout his entire career, Dak has not been able to win big games, and even when you look at regular season play, he puts up huge numbers against poor teams, especially NFC East bottom feeders, but when it comes to playing the top teams in the league, he hasn't been able to put up the same numbers and hasn't led Dallas to wins in these big games. When playing against San Francisco in the regular season this past year, Dak threw 3 picks as the Cowboys lost 42-10 and weren't competitive at all against their main competition in the NFC. Dak may put up pretty stats, but if you look deeper into his stats in the playoffs and in big-time regular season games, he has not shown up consistently, and it's time for the Cowboys to think about moving on from Dak, or at least give him competition from another quarterback in the quarterback room. Dak Prescott has had big moments in NFL games and has led his team to really good records throughout his career, but I think when it comes down to it, he has not been able to show up in big games, whether that be playoffs or regular season. Like I mentioned before with the San Francisco game, he just did not come up to play. And if he had showed up in that game, they had a chance of getting the first seed in the NFC. And because they couldn't beat San Francisco, they didn't get the first round bye, didn't get that extra week of rest, and therefore flamed out in the first round of the playoffs against Green Bay. Things might have looked a lot different if they had that confidence boost of beating San Francisco and having that extra week of rest with the bye going into the NFC playoffs. And when you look at Dak Prescott, he just creates a lot of mistrust with the Dallas Cowboys fans and their organization, because time after time he just has not been able to show up in playoffs or in big games. And for Dallas Cowboys fans, that has created a lot of frustration, and for the front office as well, and even for fans looking in that are not necessarily Dallas Cowboys fans. You can see that Dak Prescott has not been the quarterback that can lead them to wins, because when you have a team that has Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, CeeDee Lamb, and on defense, Micah Parsons, and other superstars, you should be at least winning one playoff game. This team is stacked with young talent, and they're all on their rookie contract, and you have to be able to take advantage of that while you can if you're the Dallas Cowboys. But they just have not been able to string together playoff wins and big wins in the regular season as well. And I think that this has a lot to do with their coaching and their quarterback play, because those are the two most important things on a football field, is coaching and the preparation that comes with that, as well as the quarterback play and getting your offense down the field and sustaining drives in big time situations. And both Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott have not been able to do that for the Cowboys within the past few years. And for Dak Prescott, it's been his whole career that he just has not got the job done in big time moments. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. God bless you all. I hope you have an amazing day. But let me know if Dak Prescott should be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys next year, or if they should move on from him.